please subscribe my channel. I never thought a simple thing like a baby's name could cause so much trouble in a marriage. But as I stood in that hospital room watching my wife hold our newborn son, something changed in a way I still find hard to describe. I'm Michael, 34 years old, married to Sarah for 8 years. We weren't perfect, but our relationship felt solid. At least, that's what I believed. Sarah and I discussed everything before the baby came. Things like paint colors for the nursery, good neighborhoods with strong schools, and even saving money for his future education. We had disagreements, of course, but we always worked them out. The one thing we promised to decide together was our son's name. It was important to me. My father died when I was little, and passing on a family name seemed like a nice way to keep his memory alive. Sarah knew this. She said she got it. The delivery took a long time, 18 hours. I stayed right by her side the whole time, holding her hand, saying words of support, feeling helpless but trying to be there. When our son finally came into the world, crying loudly and looking perfect, I felt an amazing wave of emotion. People describe it as relief, pride, and a love so strong it almost hurts. Sarah looked tired but calm, her eyes gentle as she gazed at him. The nurse asked softly, "Have you picked a name yet?" Sarah spoke up before I could say anything. "We're calling him Ethan." Those words hit me hard. Ethan is a nice name, a solid one, but it wasn't the one we had planned to discuss together. I chuckled at first, thinking it might be from the pain medicine, or how worn out she was. "Wait," I said quietly. "What?" Sarah didn't glance at me. She kept looking at our son and said, "I've been thinking about it a lot. Ethan just seems perfect." I felt anger building in my chest, but I pushed it down. Hospitals aren't the spot for fights. I told myself we'd talk more later. Still, the way she said it, so final, bothered me more than I cared to admit. The nurse gave a polite smile and started on the forms. I stood there with my hands in my pockets, feeling like I didn't belong in my own story. If this tale sounds like something you've heard before, hit like so it reaches more people who have gone through similar tough times. Later, when we were by ourselves, I tried once more. I kept my tone steady. "Sarah, we agreed to choose together." She let out a sigh, as if I was bothering her. "Michael, I just went through childbirth. Can we skip this for now?" That word, "this," made my concern seem like a small problem. I let it go for the rest of the day. Family and friends came and went. Everyone cooed over baby Ethan. Each time someone said the name, it felt like another block in a growing wall. That night, after Sarah dozed off, I sat in a chair near the window and watched my son sleep. I loved him right away, with no conditions. But under that love was a confusion I couldn't ignore. It wasn't really about the name. It was about feeling left out of a choice that meant a lot to me. The next day, another nurse came in. She was older and steady. She checked Sarah's health, then carefully picked up my son from his small bed. She smiled at him, then at me. "He's a handsome little guy," she said. "Thank you," I answered as she got ready to go. She stopped. "Come closer," she said in a low voice so Sarah, who was still partly asleep, wouldn't hear. "Be sure to look over the forms before you sign them," she whispered, "especially the part about the name." I looked puzzled. "Why?" She paused, then said softly, "Because I've seen unexpected changes before." Before I could ask more, she smiled in a professional way and walked out. Her words kept echoing in my mind. Unexpected changes. I looked at the forms on the table like they could surprise me. A cold feeling came over me, not from the room's air. I didn't want to jump to bad thoughts. Sarah wasn't mean or thoughtless, but she had seemed pulled away during the pregnancy in ways I couldn't quite figure out. Staying up late on her phone, talks that ended when I walked in, things I chalked up to worry. At this part of the story, tell me, do you think Michael is worrying too much, or did the nurse have a good reason to warn him? Share your opinion in the comments. I took the forms. My hand seemed heavier. The name was printed clearly, Ethan Michael Thompson, my last name, my first name as middle. A middle ground I wasn't part of. I told myself to stay calm, get the truth before letting emotions win. But I knew that warning wasn't random. It meant something. If one word sums up how you're feeling now, confused, worried, or doubtful, put it in the comments. I put the forms down. Sarah moved but stayed asleep. I looked at my son again, taking in his tiny features, and felt a strong need to protect him like never before. Something felt off, and I wasn't signing until I knew what was really going on. If this tale is creating that slow building worry for you, think about sharing it with someone who knows how little things can lead to big issues. I waited until the morning checks were done. The room was quiet at last, except for my son's gentle breaths. The nurse from the day before came back, her calm manner almost soothing. I wasn't sure if I should ask straight out or wait. I chose to wait. She saw I was unsure. "Michael, can I look?" she asked, pointing to the forms. I agreed. She went through them, stopping at a spot I missed. Small boxes, signatures, official notes. One part made her pause and frown a bit. "See this?" she asked quietly. "This allows the mom to enter the child's name officially if there's a difference or update before it's final. Did Sarah mention this to you?" I shook my head. No, she didn't. The nurse smiled in a knowing way. "That's common. Many think it's routine, but it's where changes can slip in. Sometimes a name you both liked isn't the one that becomes legal if no one checks." My gut tightened. She wasn't blaming Sarah directly, but the hint was clear. My urge to shield my son grew stronger. I had to handle this wisely, but firmly. I waited until Sarah was awake and looking at her phone like she was checking messages. "Sarah," I said calmly, "can we review the birth form together before we sign?" She looked up quickly, a flash of annoyance in her eyes. "Michael, I'm exhausted. I just want to cuddle Ethan and relax." I breathed deeply. "I get that, and I do too. But there's a section that's important, and it's easy to overlook. It's about his legal name." Sarah frowned. "You're making too much of this. We talked about it." Anger rose in me, but I stayed cool. "We said we'd decide as a team, Sarah. I just want to confirm it's all right officially. For Ethan's sake." Her face softened a little, and she came over to the forms. I read every word, checking marks, dates, and signs. Then the key part, a box already checked, filled with Ethan's name and directions for the birth record. If I hadn't looked, it would have been done. No talk, no agreement, just set. Think about it. If you're rooting for Michael's effort to keep things fair for his son, like this to support parents in tough spots like this. I turned to Sarah. "I need you to explain this. Did you feel this without me?" Her gaze dropped and her voice got softer. I didn't want to push you away. I just thought it would be best for him, for us." I nodded slowly, holding back the rush inside. It wasn't only the name now. It was about being listened to, being included in family choices. "I see that. But we have to go forward as partners. Always together for Ethan." She agreed, eyes shiny with tears. We signed side by side. Relief washed over me, but the strain wasn't fully gone. A change hung between us, a note about limits and mutual respect that we needed to remember. As I held Ethan in my arms, a rush of feelings hit. Love, a drive to protect, worry, and hope. It was a deep, lasting moment, the type that stays with you. The nurse came back once more, smiling like she knew. "You did good, Michael. A lot of people miss those details until it's permanent." I smiled a little, grateful in a way words couldn't show. Sometimes warnings come quietly, and we have to pay attention. Later that day, I thought it over and want your input. Comment, what would you do if you were Michael? Was he too sensitive or right to push? Sarah and I spent the rest of the day close, just being there, trading looks, soft touches, and quiet chuckles. It wasn't flawless, but it was real. And after the stress, that realness felt special. That night, as the lights dimmed and Ethan slept peacefully, I saw how tiny steps, like reviewing a paper or hearing a hint, can alter everything. The nurse's soft words didn't only stop a paperwork error. They showed the value of staying alert, talking openly, and working as a couple. If this touched you, pass it on to someone who gets the tricky side of welcoming a new baby and making choices together. It might help them. Sarah said to me later, her voice low, "Thanks for paying attention, for caring so much." I smiled gently. "Of course. We're in this together, Sarah. Always a team." The following days brought little but important acts. talking over baby needs hand in hand, picking nursery shades as a pair, and laughing together during late night feeds. Our connection wasn't ideal, but it grew tougher. In that toughness, I saw true success wasn't about winning a fight. It was making sure we parented with respect and care. If Michael's story taught you something, comment unity to spread the message for others facing family hurdles. Now, as I hold Ethan here, I feel a surprising calm. The hints, the stress, the little doubts, they all helped us learn to really hear each other, think carefully, and parent with strength and kindness. Before you leave, like this, share your view on Michael's choices and subscribe for more tales about family decisions and life's surprising teachings. In the end, the name on the form wasn't about winning. It was a path we walked to make sure it showed our teamwork, our respect, and our love for the son who already transformed our lives forever.